Earlier I was blathering on here about how I was growing some lettuce. Now in a minute here, underneath that grow bed, you'll see a stump there with some sticks sticking out of it, and that is a grapevine, a remnant of a grapevine that I chopped right down to the ground. And as you can see, there's nothing growing off of it. Now this is March of this year, and I want to show you how much that grapevine grew. So stay tuned and have a listen to this. Well, as you can see, there's a little growth coming off that stump now. And some of these vines are growing quite a bit actually, and you can see one peeking up through there between the grow beds. And what I'm trying to do is train it up that trellis that I've got. And as you can see how high it is already. Now there's a few more vines that are trying to come up between there. And I'm trying to, train them up through there and trying to get them to grow properly. And it's doing quite well. Now remember, 3 months ago, this was just a stump. There was nothing down there, and you can see how well it's done just in that short period of time.
Okay, let me show you how these grapevines are climbing up the trellis. Let me back up here so I can give you a little perspective. See how I've threaded one up right here through the between the two grow beds, and as you can see there it is, right up, clear up there. It's only maybe 1.5 feet from the top of the greenhouse now, and these others are not far behind. As I recall, these grow green grapes, a green grape of some kind, so they're coming along fine. Now, this other grapevine over here, you can see down in here, I've got some of the vines on that one coming up through here. Now, those are a purple grape of some kind. You see there's another one there. I'm going to train those up through here too. And hopefully, we'll get some grapes next year off of these vines. And anyway, but they are doing just great. Now, one thing you've got to do with these grapes is you've got to keep them trimmed. As you can see, well, let me back up here so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see the top of my trellis here. There it is. And what's happening is they're growing way out over the top. You can see here's one right here that's growing, and then there's another one that's growing out over the top. This one right here, you see it right there, that's growing out. And there's another one out over here. Now now what you have to do is keep these trimmed, because if you don't, what'll happen is they'll just keep growing and growing and growing, and you really don't want that. Let's see, let's clip this one off, and this one, and let's clip this one right here. Okay, now we'll let this one grow a little bit more, and we'll cut that off. But you see, what you want is you want thick growth like this. You see this thick this thick branch here, this cane they call it. That's what you want to grow in your first year. You want to grow a bunch of those, and these will grow into those thick canes in a while if you just let them grow. But you don't want to have vines, because if you just let the vines grow, they'll just keep growing and growing and growing and growing, and they won't do much for grapes. Because where the grapes come from is next year, like right about here, let's see, something will grow off of here, and you'll have a bunch of grapes. And all of these will do that. Like here's another node right here. See, there's another node right here. And next year, something will grow off of that, and you'll have grapes. You won't necessarily have any grapes this year, because this is the first year, but what will happen is all of these nodes, like here's another one down here where it's basically a thick piece of wood, the cane, you'll have grapes. Something will grow off of here. It'll kind of look like a shoot or something, but it'll be grapes. So that's what you have to do, is the first year, concentrate on getting as many of these thick, heavy canes as you can, and that's where you'll get the grapes next year. So you can see on this side a good view of these thick, heavy canes that are coming up. See this? Nice one there, nice one there. And here, this one's going to form a nice cane. And you want to get those going up there. But and then here's the other grape. See this other grape plant that's growing up here. As you can see up there, a couple of years ago I let this grow, but you can see the vines grew up through and the grapes grew up through there, and even through here you can see those dead leaves on the other side of the plastic. Those are leftover from the grapevines. They just grew up and went all up in here and grew all through on the other side of the plastic, and that doesn't do you any good. But this will produce grapes next year. If we're lucky, maybe we'll get some grapes this year. But I don't think so. We'll have to wait till next year. Well, it's the middle of August right now, and if you can see past the tomatoes that have grown up, there's the grapevines back here. And they're doing really, really well. I've had to really cut them back a lot. And as you saw me cut off the tops of those with a pair of scissors a little while ago, I have to do that just about every day because these things really, really want to grow. But I've had a pretty good success keeping them out of the rafters up here. Let me grab the camera and I'll give you a little bit of close-ups of how well this is doing. Now keep in mind that back in March when I took the original picture, there was just a stump down there. There was nothing. But let me show you how it is now, and I even have some grapes on this, which I didn't expect to get this first year. Now on this grapevine here, where you know the red grapes that I was talking about, they're doing pretty well. That's probably these right here. But as you look through there's no evidence that there's any grapes on there. But as you can see there's some pretty good solid canes growing. So those are going to be very good next year. And as you can see right down here in this one, the green grapes, you know, there's some pretty good canes growing through there too. And there's some pretty thick ones. So I think next year I'm going to get pretty good crop of grapes. See, what you want to do is at the end of the year or next year, keep these and maybe cut off any smaller ones that kind of start growing. But you know, just kind of keep it contained and it'll do well. Now, let's look at the stump down here. As you remember, let's see here. You can clear it away. It's hard to see. Well, there's the stump. See, remember that? And look how big these canes have gotten that are coming off of here. So this is all in, what is it, 6 months? I'll have to count that out. What, March to August. But anyway, and you can see there's 3 of them growing up there, going right between the 2 grow beds. And then here's the real surprise. Look up in here. There's grapes growing. I didn't expect to see that this first year, but they are growing. I think there's another bunch over here if I can find it. Well, yeah, there we go. See, there's another bunch of grapes right there. And there's some more around. Let me see if I can get on the other side and see if we can see some up there. Yeah, there we go. See, there's another bunch of grapes right there and some right. I think maybe that's the same ones from the other side. But as you can see, this is really growing well. Oh, there's a good shot of those canes that I was talking about. Now next year, that's going to be really good. See, there's another one and there's another cane. So next year I'm really expecting a lot of grapes off of these. Now look at that. There's just 2 lone grapes hanging there. But anyways, you can see all these stumps up here, all this stubble. That's from cutting and cutting and cutting practically every day. See, there's one right there. It's wanting to grow up there. I cut this yesterday, so they just grow. There's some more grapes up there. See that? Look at that. So it's surprising. Oh, look at it. Here's another grapevine. See that? It's probably just a couple of days growth. It's trying to grow out and find something. So I'll have to get the scissors and cut this off right here. But anyway, well, so that's kind of how you grow grapes. This was already planted in the ground, and it's something that I'd cut back and cut to a stump. But even if you'd bought one of those grape starts in the box store or the garden center, you know, with the plastic bag around the roots and some sticks sticking out of the top. Even if you'd bought one of those and planted it, I think it would have done, you know, about this good anyway. So that's how you do grapes. Next year, I think we'll be eating a lot of grapes off of this little section of vine, and they will be good because I've had this growing before and they were pretty good.